What's going on, guys? Yaksha here with a special episode of the show, I suppose. This is something I've been teasing for a little bit now. This is my Skul tier list video. It's finally here. Yay! I'm sure you're all super excited. This one's a little outdated because we have old Yaksha here. But I don't think anyone gives a fuck about that. There's no new Skuls in the game, so it's just visually old Yaksha. What was I gonna say at the start? Oh yeah, this is actually technically the 100 sub special because I actually made it to 100 subs, which thank you, holy shit. Literally at the start of last month, I was at like 28. So I mean that's pretty good. I'm super happy about that. Thank you so much. And I do plan on doing an item and inscription one eventually. God, that's gonna be so hard to do though because there's not one on this website, so I'll have to wing it. There's so many new items that have been added that like to make a new one would take a while. So it's not really a big deal though. I don't think. I'm still not ready to do that one yet because I think the meta is still too new to where like things aren't exactly set in like stone where I'll be able to accurately describe every item in a way that makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. But with something like this, I feel pretty comfortable in getting this right because not too much changed in 1.5 with these skulls. They're pretty much where they were before. And yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started. We'll go from, right to left or left to right. I mean, oh God, I'm so stupid. And do every single one of these, including the transformations. Because this tier list has transformations. So yeah. Starting with Alchemist here. My boy used to be way up here before 1.5 dropped. So this is one of the skulls that actually changed in 1.5. Oh, actually, I should go over my tiering here. I have overpowered. Like, this is an A, B, C, D, and F and stuff like that. This is overpowered. So this is for skulls that are just broken. Like, you don't even have to try at all with these skulls. They're just, you just win, basically. They're very, 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 very strong. Then you have easily usable. These are skulls that are not quite at this level, but they're close. Like, these are very powerful skulls. There's a pretty big gap between overpowered and easily usable because overpowered skulls are just ridiculous. But I would say these two tiers are very close together, and then we'll get to this tier. So easily usable are very powerful skulls. They're not quite at the level of overpowered, but they're just good. Then you have usable with some work skulls, and these are skulls that are still usable. Like, they're strong. They just need some effort put into them. Like, you need to either get them to legendary or you need to get specific items with them. You can't just slap any old build together and feel confident in getting a victory with these skulls. And then you get to the unusable tier, which is skulls that just on a fundamental level in one way or another don't quite click. There's something wrong with them functionally with their mechanics that you cannot get past. They like, basically the way I look at this tier is like, if I found one of these skulls and I was trying to think of a way to justify using it, and like my exclusive goal was to win, would there be any reason for me to pick it over something else? And if I can't think of any reason, then to me, it's unusable. So it's not literally unusable. Every skull here, in one way or another, can be used. You just, like, you need to be able to justify it in one way or another to not end up in this tier. Oop, thunder. I don't know if that picked up on the screen. Or in the recording, I mean. Okay, so I probably should have said that at the start, but it's fine. We'll get right into our Alchemist here again. So, okay, Alchemist. Used to be up here back when it had Flame Flask. Really, it was only Flame Flask that was keeping it into the overpowered tier. But it was enough, man. Flame Flask was so stupid. I don't know, like, if you're a new player and you just got here in 1.5, you just don't know, okay? This was just stupid. But it got changed in 1.5 to be the status skull. Like, it has every status except poison on it, and it uses them pretty effectively. Like, our boy Alchemist here is no longer the overpowered, just ridiculous snowbally skull it was, but it's not bad now. So where do I put it? This is going to be one of the harder ones to tier for me, because it's just, you know, things change so much for it. I think it could go into easily usable. Should I order them? And I'm trying to think if I should further order them, because like further ordering them is going to be really easy. Like, you know, like from like right or left to right, like in terms of their usability in their tiers as well. It's going to be really easy to do that in these high tiers, but in the middle tiers, it's going to be harder. And in the low tier, it's going to be easy as well. So I think, okay, we'll decide that as we cross that path. So yeah, Alchemist, I think, belongs here. Could end up changing my mind as I go on through a video, because like I'm going to be tiering these as I go. So like, you know, if this tier becomes overcrowded with heroes that I don't think the Alchemist belongs with, maybe I'll change my mind as I go. We'll see. Let's go on to Archlich here, or Archlich, I should say. Oh my god, that's Sean Connery there for a second. Archlich. I would say this is a skull that's fallen in grace for a lot of people after 1.4 came out, and it got nerfed. I think most people think it got nerfed. Personally, I don't know. I don't know, actually. Like, how do I feel about Archlich? Like, it's a good skull. Like, it's still really good. But is it overpowered like it used to be? The real thing that changed about it, I think its damage got nerfed, so that's a big change. Hang on 1 second. I'm gonna enjoy a sip of tea. Alrighty. So its damage got nerfed, but the real big change that happened to it, or at least the most like blatant change, is its strongest skill got turned from its like a skill that it has on its skill bars. It turned it to its passive, and you like have to like press a combination of buttons to activate it. So it always has it on it, but the cooldown of its passive compared to what it used to be on its skill is significantly higher. It's like you get to use it less often. So sure, it always has it on it, but you get to use it less often, and I think that's overall worse. So I think it's fair to say it's no longer overpowered, and it's easily usable. However, if I was going to order these, obviously Archlich would be ahead of Alchemist. I don't think that's even slightly controversial. Archlich is still not bad. It's still good. Like, it's just not quite what it used to be. And that's fine. It doesn't have to be as strong as it used to be. It just has to be good, and it is. So yeah, not a bad skull, just not the powerhouse it used to be. Now we go to Balrog, which is a transformation, but these transformations technically are skulls. They show up as skulls when you transform as them in your inventory. So, you know, I think it's fair to put them on a tier list like this. So Balrog here, Quintessence, but it's a really long duration where Balrog is out compared to some of these others. Transformation here. Balrog is did it get changed in 1.5? I'm trying to remember if it used to have magic and physical on it and it got changed, or maybe it used to burn things. I don't know. I think it did get touched a little bit in 1.5. Balrog is like a powerhouse. Like, it's easy to look at this thing and think it's a gimmick because it's flashy, it's a legendary quintessence, but like, you know, it's like a really flashy kind of over the top effect. But like, no, it's good. it actually is good. Like it's very, very, very easy to look at this and just think it's not worth the legendary tier it is. But I disagree with that. I think that Balrog is a very usable quintessence slash Skul. I've used it in my videos with pretty good success. If you've seen those episodes, you know what I'm talking about. And would I say it's better than Alchemist? Because I don't think it's overpowered, but I think it's in an easily usable spot in this game. And I would say that's fair. Yeah, I think it's better than Alchemist. I don't think it's better than Archlich, but better than Alchemist easily. Yeah, Balrog's a bro. What can you say about Balrog except that he's a bro? He's a dog. He's down for the set, man. He'll do anything. He'll do literally anything. Okay, moving on to Beserker. What can we say about our boy Beserker here? Good lord, what a monster. Just an absolute beast. Just pretty unparalleled in terms of power skull raw power. There are some other skulls that we'll get to later that come close, but I don't know. I'm a big Beserker fan. For some reason, there's a really, really weird conversation that happens in the community from time to time where it's like, who's better, unique Beserker or legendary Beserker? It's pretty close. It's like, bro, it's not even close. Legendary Beserker is ridiculous. Now, I'm not saying unique Beserker is bad. It's not. But there's no debate there. There's nothing there. Like, unique Beserker, great. Legendary Beserker, holy shit, bro. If we were talking unique Beserker and ranking it, we would probably put it here, maybe like here, maybe here. But overpowered legendary Beserker, and also we are counting these skulls by their maximum possible tier, just FYI. I'm sure that was implicit, but I feel like I should say it now that we're having this conversation. Yeah, it belongs right up here. Just a quintessential power skull. A kind of like the tackle dash debuff I always like to talk about that holds a lot of skulls back. Definitely does not hold Beserker back at all. Beserker is just great in so many fronts. It has a really strong swap. It has really strong abilities. The transform is insane. It's just, what can you say about Beserker? It's ridiculous. It's so strong. And he belongs right up here. No question. Oh boy. Champion. Oh, champion. I honestly don't even know where to start with this poor creature. So champion got changed in the 1.4 Reformation update. Hang on one second. Got changed in that update. Before the Reformation update, champion was okay. I don't think anyone thought it was great. Maybe someone out there is like a huge champion before the nerf, or getting ahead of myself. Before the changes update happened. But champion post 1.4, man, where do I even start? So get out of here. you're not going up there, champion. I can tell you that much right now. No, sir. It lost so the champion used to be a very high skill spam skull. It would just it was really good at having a bunch of skills that costed really low energy, and the champion gains its like abilities, like it uses its abilities in a very unique way that no other skull does, where the more you attack with it, the higher your energy bar charges. It's not like skills where they have cooldowns. You have an energy bar and you attack, and every ability you use uses up some of that energy. And its abilities used to cost really low amounts of energy, but now in the 1.4 Reformation update, for some who the fuck knows why reason, They made all of its abilities cost so much. Even its strongest ability cost half of its energy. It can only store up to 100. It costs 50 to use that ability. So at the most, you can, at full charge, use it twice. And Champion has a passive where when you get to a certain amount of energy on a cooldown, I think, you can activate like a time slowdown ability where like everything moves in slow motion and you can like dish out a lot of damage hypothetically in that amount of time where everything's kind of in slow motion. And that used to be very strong back in the day when Champion was more of a skill spam Skul. But now that a passive makes no fucking sense with this Skul, because its strongest ability costs half of its fucking energy meter. So you can only use that once, if you're lucky, during this passive power-up. And its other skills are nothing to write home about. They still cost a lot, and I mean a lot of energy for what they do. And it's just so weird. Like, it's so weird. I don't understand what the devs were thinking when they completely changed this Skul. And they changed it fundamentally on its abilities, but they didn't change its passive at all to reflect the new way that it works. And also, they took away its parry on its skill and put it on its dash, which it's not like horrible, but it's nonsense because it's redundant. A dash already dodges damage. Why put a parry that is supposed to dodge damage on its dash? And I said it's not horrible, but it can get you into trouble. Like in the Joan fight, you can when you're dashing out of the way of its her beam attacks, you can parry and then move forward with that parry, and it'll send you flying into another beam. Or it'll send you flying off of the platforms down into the murky area where you take damage. There's so many weird little issues with this Skul. And I'm told, and I was even shown, that this Skul can still do decent. But the question you have to ask yourself is, what makes this Skul worth taking over anything else? What does it have going for it? It can't deal with crowds without items, but other Skuls can do that. It can't skill spam anymore. Its passive is worthless. Like, what can it do? And I'm left just... I got nothing. I have no reason to take this Skul. Because whenever you're not using your abilities, it's just a normal, basic speed Skul that attacks and deals basic attacks. And most of the time you're using this Skul, that's what it's going to be doing. So, hot take, I'm putting it here. And that's that, dog. That might make some people not happy with me. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's not my fault that they did this to Champion. They should revert it. Champion in 1.5, the old Champion, if we could, like, imagine old Champion with its ability spam with mana generator, like a mana tech gravity generator, dude. That'd be so fucking sick, dog. That would be awesome. I would be using Champion all the time. But as it is, I don't know, man. I don't like it. It sucks to say that, but that's how I feel. So, yeah. That's, I guess, the first hot take of the video. There's going to be a lot of those. Let's get into the hot takes. Though this isn't a hot take at all. Clown. Clown, clown, clown. What a great Skul. Everyone loves the clown. You can do a lot with this Skul here. Just really, just solid. I would say it's one of the most solid, straight up, just usable Skuls in the game. So the question is, does it belong here or here? It's not down here anywhere. It's certainly in one of these tiers. So clown, man, I don't know. With 1.5, like 1.5 did change Skuls, like indirectly it changed the viability of some Skuls, because obviously the more items you add, the more options Skuls have, and also inscriptions as well can enable Skuls to do different things. So was what was added in 1.5 enough to bring our boy Clown up here. Because before 1.5, I would have put it here. But here, it very well could be up here now. The thing is, Invisible Knife, Mana Gauntlets, these are things that enable basic attacks on skulls that normally, like, so Clown is a mixed skull. It has basic attacks that deal physical, but also they deal magical after a certain amount of attacks, and it stacks up its passive on enemies. And things like Mana Gauntlet and Invisible Knife kind of enable that basic attack archetype more. There's also like kind of meme builds that I love personally, though I'm not gonna. I'm gonna try and be as objective as possible here, so I'm not gonna like bring my biases into this. But like projectile-based builds, where you use the Coward's Bow or whatever it's called, to like amplify your damage if there's no enemies around you, and you have a lot of projectiles on you, such as Thieves Armor and After Image, and you can just have a lot of also Bone of Swiftness powering up your basics. There's a lot of ways that you can make your basics very strong, and I would say Clown is very good at that. But Clown is also really good at ability spam too, like Gunpowder Sword on it, and you have the Jack in the Box ability, which just can obliterate bosses. Though Gunpowder Sword shenanigans are nothing new, but like you can do it with Invisible Knife too. It's very good at utilizing crit. So honestly, and I guess this might be kind of a hot take, but I don't think people are going to disagree with me too much here. Like Clown, I think it's just overpowered now. It's good. I would say it's maybe at the back end of a tier of this upper tier here. But I think I can very, very easily put it up here now. It got the right amount of tools to help it. And I think it can go up here now very easily. So yeah, Clown is overpowered now, or at least in my opinion, it is. Moving on to Gambler. I'm a big Gambler fan. I am. I love Gambler. I defended it even before 1.4 came out and it got its reformations, but I would say before 1.4 it was probably down here. I don't think Gambler belongs up here at all, so it's not going to go up here. I think it goes in easily usable or usable with some work. The thing about Gambler is it's like one of the best partner skulls that you can have. Its abilities have extremely low cooldown. Its swap is very high rolly but very good. The thing is, Gambler literally has high roll RNG mechanics, which obviously like makes sense. It's Gambler. He gambles. So whenever you're using his abilities or swapping them out, he has a chance to high roll his abilities or his swap, where like it like has a different effect attached to it depending on how your RNG rolls. But the thing about it is I don't think we know the actual percentages of what is possible with Gambler, but Gambler can high rolls very often. Like, the RNG is in Gambler's favor, and whenever Gambler high rolls, his effects are very strong. But even when he when he low rolls, I would say some of the effects are pretty bad. Like, you get the snake eye dices, you get the roulette wheel that just kind of fizzles out and explodes. Those effects are weak, but they're very low cooldown abilities, so even if you do low roll, you get it back very quickly. And you can always just swap out to another skull and then swap into Gambler and make use of his very powerful swap. If the swap high rolls, it has 3 different outcomes, and all of the outcomes are fantastic. So the swap is just great. I think Gambler could go into easily usable. Maybe it belongs in usable with some work. I think for now I'll put it here. At the back end of easily usable. Could very well end up in usable with some work as I move on and continue adding skulls to the tiers. But for now, I think easily usable is a perfectly fine placement for Gambler. And I'm sticking to that. Now we're moving on to Gargoyle. Our good pal Gargoyle, who actually got some really awesome tools in 1.5. Because in-air attacks have never been stronger. And just basic attacks in general. And Gargoyle is the king at basic in-air attacks. That's pretty much the whole point of the skull. Though it also has ability spam too, so it has like lots of paths that it can take to be very strong. So I actually think Gargoyle could very well go smack dab in the middle of easily usable. So there are some interesting builds that you can take with Gargoyle. You can go a mixed route now, actually, with Gargoyle. It has really good ability to use Genie's Chain Sickle. If you use Genie's Chain Sickle on Gargoyle, it basically gives you a second basic attack in the air. So you're dealing both physical and magical damage. Both of them deal high numbers of damage, and they both have really good range. So like, it's a really good, easy way to just shred enemies. It's really good in rooms. This build in particular, you can even like do bleed builds with Gargoyle. I've done them on my channel. I have a unique Gargoyle bleed build. It's one of the first 1.5 videos I did, and it was very strong. There's just a lot of things you can do with this skull now. It has a lot of build opportunities, but like even outside of just like the in-air attack builds, you can do ability spam builds, because Gargoyle has 2, maybe even 3, but I think it's 2 abilities that have charges on them. So you can use like Mage's Necklace or Mana Generator or Bone of Mana, and just kind of like shred enemies like that. Like, and also it has a really good swap where it's invincible when it swaps in, and also has abilities that make it invincible as well. So it's a good way to avoid taking damage. Like, Gargoyle is just really solid. I think it firmly plants itself in the middle of the easily usable tier. I don't think there's any chance that this falls out into a lower tier. This is just a solid skull. And I think that's all that has to be said about that. Moving on to Genie. Holy shit, this video is going to be so long, dog. Genie. Or Gene. Why is it called Gene? I'm never going to get over that. One of the most misunderstood skulls in the entire game. A lot of people would firmly plant Gene down. I'm going to call him Genie. Every time I see Gene, it throws me off. Okay, so a lot of people would firmly plant Genie down here. Personally, I don't agree with those people. Genie is a perfectly usable skull. In fact, it's one of the best skulls at avoiding taking damage in the game. You just have to know what you're doing. Genie's dash is dog shit. Actually, this is one thing I still don't understand after all of my time playing this game. I do not get what the devs' intention was putting those dashes on Genie. Like, for what purpose is it supposed to serve? Where you literally just teleport forwards. Like, at rare, its basic starting tier of rarity, Genie's dash does nothing. Nothing. And it since Genie dodges with its abilities, it only has one ability. And so you have a dash that does nothing, and at rare, you have one ability to dodge attacks with. So basic rare Genie is dog shit. It's one of the worst skulls in the game. But as you level up Genie, it gets stronger and stronger until you get to Legendary, and then Genie is one of the most proficient users of basic attacks, because it has like a 3-hit combo basic attack where on the 3rd hit it spawns in like these apparitions that also attack with you, and that damage can rack up a lot. Though I would say Genie requires like I said, one of the things that will make this tier list, like one of the things that defines this is how much work it takes to put in to make a skull usable. And Genie, I would say, really takes before Legendary before it's truly good. And also, you still need ways to deal with crowds with this skull. So things like Gunpowder Sword, Thieves Armor, stuff that has AoE effects that are strong. Genie absolutely pretty much requires these to work well. But Genie can work fantastically. It's not a bad skull, even slightly. Not as bad as people think. Though I do agree with people it could use some touch-ups, because it's one of those skulls that's existed in the game since it was introduced, and it's pretty much stayed the same, whereas every skull here basically has undergone changes in one way or another. So Genie, good, usable. but needs some work and could definitely do with some updates. But yeah, don't knock him before you try him. He's good. Very usable. Ghoul. Holy shit, man. What a rags to riches story with our boy Ghoul here. Before 1.4, easily down here. Hanging out with the scum of the earth. And what has happened to our boy? He used to not be able to gain chunks. Like his passive where he gains chunks and grows in size. He used to not be able to gain those against like bosses. But also at the same time, why would you have wanted chunks with Ghoul? Excuse me. Oh, stretching. Why would you have wanted chunks with Ghoul before 1.4? He gained damage, but he got bigger and became a bigger target. There was like no real reason outside of dealing more damage, which is not always the be-all end-all, to use Ghoul and get him bigger. But now, as he gets bigger, he can swallow his chunks and gain HP barriers, which personally I really don't use, honestly. That's a mechanic I don't use as much as I think I should on Ghoul. But he his abilities got better. He gains chunks against bosses now, so like his passive is just better. He gained his Hook Skull, which used to be a permanently bound ability, kind of like Rider. Used to be permanently bound to one of his ability keys, but that's not the case anymore. It's now on his, like, you can press up and attack to use it. And I find myself using it fairly often. But the best thing about Ghoul now is he has two abilities that are, he can have that aren't the hook, and they it's just a huge improvement to the skull overall. The skull just got better. Rags to riches. I wouldn't say like he's a king now, but he's definitely an easily usable skull. And I would probably plant him somewhere here, maybe here, but I think he maybe belongs next to Gargoyle on the right side. Left to right, obviously in descending order of strength. He still has a tackle dashing power skull, which holds him back, as it does most of them except our boy here. And yeah, I think Ghoul is perfectly placed here. Harpy. Womp. What can you say? For one, just look at it. It's so stupid looking. Hello? What is this stupid design? Like, it's Little Bones' head on like a penguin? Like a pink penguin? It just looks so dumb. Oh, like devs, you're so good at character design. It's like Skul is just like a brilliantly designed game where like every variant of the skulls look like our boy Little Bone in one way or another. But did you have to go so literal with this? Like when Balrog and Slime exist, who are the other transformations, but this is just like Little Bone's head on a stupid fucking bird body? Hello? And that's not even getting into how bad the skull is itself, which I think we all are in agreement that this is awful. Like, it's basically the Rider of, like, the Rider skill on our boy Rider, who will be coming up eventually. Can't see him. Oh, there he is. It's in ABC order. Hacks, please. Yeah, he like, how do I even like describe this? It's the Rider skull skill ability on this, but like you can't control it as easily, which is shocking because the bike ability can be hard to control. But this is like somehow worse, and like the only skill that Harpy has is a skill that makes it go even faster, which is like, that's not good. It's already too fast. Can't you like slow it down? Like, that would be better. Why would I want to go faster? Where am I going? Like, where do I need to go so quickly? And the answer is nowhere. Like, I mean, I shouldn't stick on this skull too long, because I mean, we all know it's bad. But yeah, Harpy is, devs, please fix it. They even nerfed it. They nerfed it in 1.5. I don't know. It's horrible. Moving on. Moving on. Hunter. Here's a hot take coming up here. I'm so ready for this, dog. I'm so ready. I'm so tired of people seeing people say Hunter is bad. Even Beals. Hunter is not bad. Hunter is good, okay? Hunter is a very usable skull, especially at 1.5. Things changed a lot. Passively, not directly. Hunter didn't get touched, I don't think, in the 1.5 update. But the addition of so many different items combined with Hunter's ability to use crits very, very easily and naturally without any modification from items themselves is a huge boon and boost to the skull. Invisible Knife, fucking insane. Gunpowder Sword, as crazy as ever. Thieves Armor, just crazy. Hidden Blade inscription. There's so many inscriptions that modify crit now. Strike, which makes your crits even stronger. What is it? Bleed also has crit modification on it, although I think I've seen people say that that's broken. But either way, that, like, you still have to factor that in to the strength that eventually will befall this skull. Like, it's just good. Hunter is good, and I'm so ready to put out this hot take. Hunter is easily usable. Easily usable. It's not hard to use Hunter at all anymore. There's so many paths for it. And yeah, I mean, 1.4 did not fix Hunter, I don't think. I've always been a Hunter defender, but I don't think 1.4 fixed Hunter to the point to where it's like up here. I would have put it maybe here in 1.4, but in 1.5, I think Hunter belongs here. I would even put it here, maybe here, but I think I'll put it here for now. Hunter is easily usable. Fight me in the comments. It's a good skull. Moving on to Mummy, a skull I love. I love Mummy. What can I say? Anything I just said about Hunter is applicable to Mummy, because these are very similar functioning skulls. However, Mummy has two build paths that it can take, because it is a mixed skull. You can go the abilities route, where you focus on its abilities, which is a more magic-based build, or you can go the basic attack route, which is where you focus on its weapons, and that is a physical route. And both of them are viable. They're both good. Like, Mummy has one of the most unique basic attacks in the game because it changes whenever you pick up a weapon up. Some weapons are better than others. A lot of Mummy's weapons are fantastic, especially at Legendary. It has some insane weapons, like just ridiculous weapons. And especially at 1.5, there are some crazy things you can do with Mummy's weapons. Like Invisible Knife, I just got done talking about it. You can have the flamethrower weapon, Hidden Blade, and Flamethrower, and you get like critical hits that have no invincibility frames tied to them. So like whatever enemy you're attacking, as you're hitting them with the flamethrower, they have no iframes. Hang on one second. Stay hydrated, friends. Anyways, they have no iframes. So like with Invisible Knife or Gunpowder Sword, or both, you can have Hidden Blade with no cooldown on its crits, no iframes for your enemies, and just a constant barrage of crits. So you can explode enemies completely. I don't think any other skull is as capable of DPS as Mummy. Now that, of course, does not make an overpowered skull. I don't know if I'm ready to put Mummy up here. Because the magical build is good too, but I would not say... I think the weapon build is actually better than the magical build in current skull iteration. But both are good. However, I do think Mummy belongs very firmly in the easily usable tier. Maybe the back end of overpowered. We'll see. I think actually I will leave it here for now, as I'm kind of tiering skulls above where they might end up at the end of the video as I continue to place skulls up in these tiers. Some might trickle down, maybe some might trickle up, but I doubt it. Mostly trickle down. Mummy can stay here for now. Very good skull, but it might end up somewhere like here. We'll see. Ninja. Oh, Ninja. Ugh. What can I say about Ninja? It got reformed in 1.4. It actually took some nerfs, believe it or not, in 1.4. They nerfed its damage for some reason. I can't even begin to understand why. But in 1.4, it took some damage nerfs. And it... 1.5 did not help Ninja that much. I will say that much. Statuses are like okay. I would say Poison's pretty good on Ninja. Bleed's okay on Ninja. But Ninja still has fundamental issues. Ninja's issues are its damage, its movement, yeah, which are pretty much everything. The only thing I would say Ninja is good at is skill spam. Ninja is kind of unparalleled in skill spam, actually, because it has the unique quality of being at legendary. It has access to 4 skills instead of the usual 2. Because when you jump in the air, you get access to 2 extra skills. So yeah, that's something Ninja can do that no other Skul can do, which I think keeps it from being here. But it's probably here at the back end of this tier. It needs a lot of work, you know. It needs a lot of work to really get used and be good. But, you know, you can do stuff with Ninja. Wheel, mana generator, and I did insult its movement. It has really good vertical movement. You can do a lot of crazy shit with Ninja that no other Skul can do, but also, and this is like something I never see people remark on when it comes to Skuls, but this is super important to Skuls. Skuls have different dashes. Like, there are some dashes that are normal, there are some dashes that are strong, there are some dashes that are weak. Ninja has one of the more unique dashes in the game where it has a triple dash, but it also simultaneously has one of the longest dash cooldowns of any Skul. After you use that, use up your 3rd dash, or you wait too long after your 2nd dash, and you don't get the 3rd dash, the cooldown from when you can start dashing again is enormous with Ninja. It's obscene, and it's horrible. It's one of the worst parts about Ninja. Like, you just take surprise damage so often because you are waiting for your dashes to come back online, and it just takes forever. It's one of the worst aspects about Ninja. Ninja, for a Skul that kind of emphasizes movement, is one of the worst movement Skuls in the game in a lot of ways. So yeah, good ability spam. That's it. That's really it. There's not a lot you can do with this Skul, but I think that alone keeps it from being in the unusable tier. Predator, yoink! Yoink! Okay, so here's the great debate. This is the big one. Who is better? Because Predator belongs in Overpowered. I think we all agree. Who's better of the power Skuls in Overpowered? Beserker or Predator? Good question. They both do very different things. This is like one of the only power Skuls that doesn't have a tackle dash debuff attached to it. It's an ability spam power Skul, which is very unique for power Skuls. It relies on its abilities to do damage, which that's normal for power Skuls, but Predator does it in a very different way. Personally, I like Beserker more than Predator. But for you Predator fans out there, don't get too upset. It's close. It's very close. I will never, ever, ever have anything bad to say about either of these Skuls. Ever. They're both fantastic. Just incredible. Predator is... It also... I'm pretty sure it still has slowness attached to its swap, which is one of the only ways to actually apply slowness in this game still, because they removed it from some of the Skuls that had it, I believe, or maybe some quintessences that had it. But it's a very strong debuff that is just hard to get on anything else. Predator is just fantastic. Both of these Skuls are like the kings of power Skuls. They kind of defined what a power Skul should be. I love them both. So yeah, I mean, there's not much else to say. It's strong. It's very, very strong. There's so much you can do with it. So many build paths. That's kind of what the overpowered tier is for. Like a skull that you can take down pretty much any route. You could even hypothetically do a magic build on a predator, and it would be very good. There's just so much you can do with it. It's good. Moving on to everyone's favorite skull. I mean, I'm putting it up here, obviously. It's in overpowered, but where does it belong in overpowered? Now that we have access to stats, we know a lot more about King and Prisoner than we did before. Though I guess maybe some people knew. I'm just a dummy and needed the stat screen to know. So maybe if you already knew, hey, you know, good on ya. I didn't know any of this stuff until 1.5, but King is one of the most, if not the most capable skull of getting high damage values because of its cursed chest. If you can get an early Prisoner and then turn it into a King early as well, you have so many opportunities to find cursed chests, which raise your stats. It's insane. And also, its passive is a stat booster as well. There's so many stats to be gained with Prisoner and King, especially King. As I said at the start, this is always about the highest tier rarity. Like, we're not really judging uniques or rares, so just always keep that in mind. Yeah, I mean, God, King is just incredible. It can go either direction, physical or magic, very easily, and it's the Dead Souls guy, the Dead Cells guy, not the Dead Souls guy. Though I guess, I mean, the cells kind of look like souls. I don't know, but yeah, he's the Dead Cells guy. We all love the Dead Cells guy, and the devs did like a phenomenal job bringing that character and that world into Skull the Hero Slayer. It's almost flawless. In fact, I can't think of any flaws, so maybe it is flawless. Just my favorite skull currently in the game, and I think a lot of people's favorite skull. I think it belongs at the tippy-tip top of overpowered right now as we have it here. Maybe it could get dethroned by one of these fine skulls down here, but for now, he is here. Very firmly and very happily. All right, we are on a slew of powerful skulls here. Rider. So this is an opinion I haven't said up until this point, but keep this in mind going forward. I believe that speed skulls are the best skulls in the game. Overwhelmingly so. Speed skulls just kind of have access to tools, and they can utilize tools in better ways than every other archetype. Rider is no exception. Rider is fucking insane, dude. The DPS that this skull can dish out is insane. So boop, 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 boop. Now we find him up here, but will he rise even further? So what makes Rider so good? It has permanent access to one skill in particular called, it's like a bike. I don't know what it's actually called. I shouldn't say what it's called, but it's a skill that allows it to jump on a bike and ride around for maybe like 5 or 6 seconds. And as it rides around, it deals damage to enemies. At first, this skill is okay. It's actually, no, it's always good. But as you upgrade further and further in your run, it goes from a skill that is good to a skill that is great. And then when you get it to legendary, I would say, and I don't even think this is a hot take, I will firmly stand by this take. Rider's bike skill is the strongest skill in the game at legendary. And I don't even feel slightly off saying that. Rider's bike skill can deal so much DPS, it's ridiculous, because it gets like these apparitions or like these after images behind it. And as you ride along, all of those after images deal damage too. And it just deals so much damage. You just have to know how to use it. Like, never, always be moving around as Rider. Like, always be jumping and turning back and forwards. Never just ride in one direction and let it ride. Always be moving. So if you've never gotten the most out of Rider's skill, now you know. It's very, 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 very good. And I mean, there's not enough varies that I can use to state how good this Skul is. I could even okay, no, Prisoner absolutely, but Rider is at the tip top of overpowered, above all of these, and I stand by that. Maybe a bit of a hot take. I don't know. I think everyone likes Rider, but yeah, Rider's excellent. Rockstar, good Skul. Yeah, everyone likes Rockstar. It has one of the coolest Easter eggs in the game, where if you bring this into an adventure fight, you get a special song with some like dynamic layers added to it. It's one of the only instances of dynamic music in this game, which is kind of a shame. Everyone loves dynamic soundtracks, and Rockstar has like just a excellent like just on that alone, it's a cool Skul, but is a strong Skul. Yeah, Rockstar's strong. Is it excellent? Like overpowered? No. But I think it firmly belongs in this tier. I would say the amp ability, which I think Rockstar is also always has attached to it no matter what. So it's also kind of like Rider in that sense, where every Rockstar has the amps on it, where you lay down amps, and they are like these objects that you can lay around the map that deal damage as they exist. And when you get that to Legendary, it's quite powerful. And also when you get a Rockstar to Legendary, it has a powerful swap that does the same thing, basically. But I would say Rockstar's other skills are kind of on the weaker side. And one thing that actually holds Rockstar back, ironically, even though I just got done saying the opposite, is that it's a speed Skul. Which means it can't make like top usage of like items like mana, or Bone of Mana as it's called now. You gotta get used to that, community. It's not called Mana Bone anymore. They actually made it consistent. It's called Bone of Mana now. But yeah, Rockstar, if it was a balanced Skul, could be paired with another balanced Skul, and then its amps would be even more powerful with Bone of Mana. But you can still add like you know, Mage's Necklace. You can still like so we're in 1.5. Building mixed has never been stronger, so you can easily put like Mana Generator on Rockstar and get a lot of usage out of it too, and it has low cooldown abilities otherwise. I would actually say its amps is one of its highest cooldown abilities it has access to. So where does that put Skul here? Or Rockstar, I should say. Durr. We'll get to use Skul. Rockstar, I think, would probably be right about here. And also, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think Alchemist is weaker than Hunter. Fight me. But yeah, also Gambler in the back, I guess. Yeah, I think this is fair. Maybe this is in order, so I'm doing this in order. I think Rockstar belongs here, maybe before Ghoul, but I'll keep Ghoul ahead of it for now. Also, it is raining like crazy out there. I hope lightning doesn't start. Yeah, I think that's fair. Moving on to Samurai. What can we say about Samurai? I would say a universally loved Skul by many. It's a speed Skul, but I don't think it really fits the archetype in the same way most speed Skuls do. Samurai is like a powerhouse Skul. It's like a one-shot Skul. It's like the archetypical one-shot Skul, actually. Before, you know, we used King for one-shots or Reaper for one-shots. We used Samurai. Or also we used Warrior too, RP. But and I shouldn't say RP. But yeah, Samurai is great. We all love Samurai. The question is, where does it belong? So before 1.5, or no, 1.4, my bad. Samurai's Full Moon Slash was like, this is the reason that you pick up Samurai. It, much like the Rockstar and the Rider, has a skill always attached to it called Single Slash. But the real power behind, and Samurai, like, as you attack enemies with your basics and your second ability you have, which can be like a parry or like a multi-slash, you add these marks to enemies, and once they're fully marked up, when you attack them with your single slash, it deals more damage. So everything's based around single slash, but once you get Samurai to Legendary, it gets Full Moon Slash, and Full Moon Slash is one of the primary ways that you can one-shot bosses. And I've done it on the channel. If you watched my Samurai video, you saw I one-shot Joan like you know, she was nothing. But Before 1.4, it took a long time to charge up your Full Moon Slash, so you had to be very selective with how you used it. But 1.4 changed that, and now you can Full Moon Slash a lot. And I think they like kind of balanced it out by nerfing the power of Full Moon Slash, but it's negligible. It's a very powerful ability. So kind of a one-trick pony, but its one trick is good. So where do I put Samurai in that case? Stop it, tier list. I think Samurai maybe belongs in the easily usable tier. Could also justify putting it up here. But it is a one-trick pony. So I think for that, I can put Samurai here comfortably. You can make your Samurai builds really strong by powering it up with like a Power Skull and taking Bone of Courage. But like everything centers around getting those one-shots with Samurai, which means it's kind of worse in rooms than some other skulls, like in normal rooms where normal enemies are. I think it's too much of a one-trick pony to be overpowered, but it's very good. At the tip top of easily usable. The good skull. Skul, Lil Bone, our good pal, the mascot of our favorite game. God, what a great skull. Get it? What skull is a great skull? Anyway, Lil Bone is a bit of a one-trick pony himself. The thing about Lil Bone is, it has one trick, but the one trick it does is one of the most unique things in the game. It has ability spam on a level that no other skull has even close to. Lil Bone is the reigning champ of ability spam. Nothing comes even slightly close. So with that said, items like Bone of Mana, Mage's Necklace, Mana Tech Generator, Gravity Generator, stuff like that is very good on Lil Bone. However, you can also make use of basic attack based items too. God, I still don't know this item's names, but it's a basic attack thing where whenever you use an ability, you get these blasts that come out of your basic attack for a while. I really should have the wiki up in another tab, but I don't want to be swapping tabs too much in this video, so... And I don't have multiple monitors. I record this on a shitty laptop, so... you know, low production value, what can I say? It is what it is. So Lil Bone here... One-trick pony, but God is its trick good. Even skulls that wish they were... Like, this is a good ability spam skull. Gargoyle. But Lil Bone puts it to shame. It puts anything to shame that even... Well, actually, we're about to get to one that can do it too, but I think Lil Bone firmly belongs in easily usable. Like, a lot of people are under the impression that, like, getting a win with Lil Bone is hard because it's an achievement, but it really honestly isn't. Lil Bone is strong. He's good. God, look how stupid this looks next to this. I can't get over this. It makes me... It's so annoying. Look how stupid this design is. Please. Devs, fix Harpy, please. There's so much wrong with it. But, a lot of skulls are like that, by the way, but none of them look quite as stupid as Harpy. Like, at least, you know, like, well, I don't know, Warrior has, like, fucking cool, like, war paint. Like, I don't know. It's just, God, this looks so stupid. I can't even go. Okay, whatever. This is about Lil Bone here. Yeah, it's a good skull. Firmly in this tier. I think this is a good spot for it. Behind Gargoyle, but ahead of Ghoul. I think that's fair. I think that's completely fair. Moving on to Slime. I did a video with Slime recently. Slime is very cool. It's a Omega one-trick pony though. Like, just probably the most one-trickest pony there ever was. Like, if we're talking about ability spam, Slime can do it too. Not quite on the level of Lil Bone, but it can do it. Probably the second best ability spammer. Actually, that's probably a bit of a hot take. I don't know if I agree with that myself. It's good though. It's very good at it. The thing that makes Slime unique is for one, this is a quintessence. If you weren't aware, it's a common quintessence. It's a transformation just like Balrog. But the thing that makes Slime unique is it's invincible to all damage. It literally cannot take damage. However, and this is something I didn't know until recently, it can still activate on hit effects. So if you have an item that is on hit X happens, even though slime technically can't take damage, it can still get hit, which means you can activate those item effects, which makes it significantly better than than the one trick pony it was, especially before 1.5. But a one trick pony it still is. I've tried using it. I brought it along for a symbol of toughness run. I think that's what it's called. It's the item that whenever you have HP barriers, it deals damage proportionate to the HP barrier and your attack percent whenever you take a hit. I brought this along for a run to make use of that, and it is mind-numbingly slow. Because unless you have like Shield Skull, actually, I didn't do a Shield Skull run with it. It might be good on a Shield Skull run, but either way, whenever you have Fortress 4, you're not taking much damage anyway. So in terms of that, it's not very useful. And I know there's builds you can do with it, like where you make use of the Corrupted Heart or whatever it's called the poison item, where on hit it applies poison. I haven't done that with slime yet. I imagine that's pretty strong, but either way, I'm just not feeling it that much. The thing that slime is really good at, for one, dodging damage. You can actually use it to just dodge damage as a quintessence, even though I personally would rather just have an offensive quintessence. You can also use slime offensively, like I did in my video, where you're just invincible and you have Mana Bone, you have Mage's Necklace, you have Mana Generator, and you just skill spam, and it deals tons and tons of damage. That's like the one build where I'm certain that slime is good. One Trick Pony, though, it does what it does it well, but I think that it's one of the hardest things to make work in the game, so I think it belongs firmly in the usable with some work tier. I would actually put it above Genie, which goddamn Genie, I'm sorry to do that to you, dog, but you're worse than this thing. Sorry, dog. Don't know what to tell ya. Moving on to just like we're doing some powerful speed skulls here. We have the thief, the petty thief, who becomes the not petty thief. He loses his pettiness. He goes to therapy, he learns to cope with his trauma, and he's no longer petty. He doesn't take his problems out on others anymore. The petty thief is good. It's like the archetypical speed skull. Very powerful, very usable. I don't know if it's overpowered. It did get some changes in 1.5 that changed it pretty significantly. It's no longer a physical mixed skull. It's just a pure magic skull, except for its basic attacks. Excuse me. With that said, I don't think that was enough to propel it into overpowered. It's not quite on the level of these skulls up here, but I would say it's very, very near the top of easily usable, because it's just solid. Like, there's so many things you can do with it, especially in the new builds. Like, its abilities, like all of them are magic now, so you no longer have to worry about shifting your damage one way or the other. But you could still go physical on this skull. Like, you can do a rapidity basic attack focused build where you use like Curian and Bone of Swiftness. And you can still dish out good damage with your basic attacks on Petty Thief. But obviously, you're generally building more magic with this skull. But you can go mixed. You can go full physical. You can do whatever you want. That's just like the mark of a good skull. And yeah, I mean, I think it goes above Archlich, but not necessarily above Samurai. And let's have another look at Mummy, now that we're kind of getting a good feel for easily usable tier. Would I put Mummy above Samurai or Petty Thief? And I have to take my personal feelings out of this. I'm trying to be as objective as possible. Personally, I think yeah. Let me think about that a little bit more. The thing that makes me want to put it in overpowered is the multiple powerful build branches you have. Whereas these they're not necessarily bad. They have like they're either one-trick ponies or they have like multiple build branches, but you know, just not quite as universally useful. I think Mummy kind of rises above that and it's more universally useful in both directions. So yeah, I think Mummy still belongs in overpowered. We'll see how we feel as we continue. Armor, living armor. Not a bad skull at all. Like I make those noises, but like living armor's not bad. Here's what I think about living armor. Tackle dasher. Bleh, bleh, bleh. So that's enough said about that. But really powerful abilities, really powerful passive, especially legendary. Like it has so good, really good access to powerful abilities. But it is a power skull, which means no bone of mana to be used on it, and bone of courage is dog shit on it. It's not good at basic attack, so it can't use the bone of swiftness. Though obviously we don't tier skulls based on how they use the bones, but bone of mana on magic skulls especially is like a huge boon. So I always consider that whenever I'm using these skulls. It's not particularly good at using any of the new items. It's pretty much just like you focus damage and you be stupid with the skull. It's like tactics, artifact, powerful magic, powerful item effects, and you just kind of like punch like a big dumb idiot. That's what you do with this skull. And taking like I say these aren't to degrade the skull or anything. Like I'm not saying like it's a big. I'm not saying idiots play this skull or anything. I'm like that's just kind of how I'm wording it. Like it's just a big punch skull. You punch big. I think it belongs maybe at the bottom of easily usable. I don't think it needs work to be used because like it's strong at every like it starts as a unique. It's strong at unique, but it's really strong at legendary. But like I don't think it's better than any of these. So yeah, I think it firmly belongs here. I think it's fair. Yeah. Bump one out real quick. How long is this video so far? I can't tell. I think we're probably past the hour mark. And we're getting there. My voice is already giving out. We're gonna do it though. Bomber. Bomber. So Bomber is very unique in the way it's used. It's like one of the only like true support skulls in the game where it has really no utility other than its swap and like swapping a lot. So it definitely falls into like the unique support skull viability. Is it good at that? Sometimes. The thing about Bomber is I think it got stronger with because now it has access to burn, so it's no longer quite as hang on 1 second. It's no longer quite as trapped into being a kaboom only skull as it used to be, because apparently you can swap into it now and actually do fairly well with its ability to apply burn to enemies. So if you're on an arson build, you can make really good use of Bomber beyond just its ability to explode. But the thing that really makes Bomber good is its ability Kaboom. And Kaboom is like an ability it has that instant explodes it. Before Legendary, Kaboom has a humongous cooldown. But once you get to Legendary, pretty much every time you swap into your Bomber, if you've built into especially like Mana Cycle or like Mana Tech at all, you're gonna have your Kaboom up pretty much constantly, which is so strong. If we were going just based off Kaboom, I would put Bomber in overpowered, but Bomber is such a one-trick pony, maybe a two-trick pony now, that I think it either belongs here or here, or here. One or the other, and I'm not quite sure which. It's easily usable when it has Kaboom, but without Kaboom, it's very hard to make use of. It does have niche builds, like you can have Mage's Necklace or like Mana Bomber with your tiny bombs, but that's not that good. So I think it belongs in usable with some work at the very tip top. maybe here. Because, like, I don't know. This is probably going to be controversial because everyone loves Bomber, me included. It's strong. But the thing about Bomber is, God is it, you only pick it up when you see Kaboom. If you pick it up when you don't see Kaboom, you're making a huge mistake. It's, yeah, I mean, you can always re-roll for Kaboom, but, like, at that point, you could have picked up something else and been making instant use of your second skull rather than waiting for a re-roll from one of the NPCs who you're not even guaranteed to find. You know what? Fuck. I'll put it here, because like this is kind of like Mummy, where I'm going to come back and look at it later and see how I feel about it in this tier. But like I've been saying, I'll repeat myself just in case you like fast forwarded through the video. I'm ordering these. These are actually in order, not just like randomly placed like a live tier list. This is how I feel the order of them are in this tier. And I think Bomber is either securely here or securely at the top of usable with some work. Int. Oh my god, do I love Int. Int, my boy. Oh, Int. What can I say about Int? Holy shit. What? This is the true rags to riches story. From the absolute bottom to, not the absolute top. But goddamn did it climb. Even more than Ghoul. Before 1.4, the Reformation update, Int was horrible. It was awful. It just kind of sucked. Fundamentally, it didn't work. It was like so weird too, because it started off as a pure physical skull, and then when it turned rare, it turned into a pure magic skull. I shit you not, that is true. If you're a new player, it was a pure magic skull. And then it went to unique, and it was a pure physical skull again. And then it went to legendary, and it became like a summoner skull, kind of like a Gravedigger Carleon Recruit. It's so fucking weird. It was the weirdest skull in the game. I don't even know what to say about Int before 1.4, but then 1.4 came along and they completely fixed it. They gave it a cool mechanic with planting grass seeds that power up its skills, and as it climbs, it stays in the physical realm, and then you get the legendary, and its attacks have so much power behind them, so much power. This is a tackle dash skull that is not dragged down by its tackle dash at all, as long as you power it up with or partner it up with another speed skull or like a balance skull or something. You cannot. Or you can, but you're kind of kneecapping yourself if you pair this up with a power skull. 2 tackle dashes is not a good idea. But Int's tackle dash is not the end all be all definer of how this skull is. Also, it's a really cool design too. I love the nature design on this skull. Everything about Int I adore. This is really off topic, but I'm a big grass type Pokemon fan, and I've always been like a big nature aesthetic enjoyer. So I think on a personal level, I enjoy Int, but just like even beyond my personal biases, Int is fantastic. Easily, I would put it here, but I want to put it here, but I'll put it here. I think Samurai is better, and I could even stand to put it here, maybe. Actually, yeah, I think this is fair. This is fair. I would say it's better than Archlich, but not better than Petty Thief. But a power skull that I love. Rare, but I do love this skull. Frost Skull. Not Glacial Elemental, like I kept calling it in my fucking freeze video. We got Frost here. Excuse me for a second. Scratch my head. So hopefully that didn't sound too awful on the recording. Frost Elemental. God, it took some... See, this is going to be another one that's hard to exactly place, because it got some changes in 1.5, some pretty significant changes. A lot of its old abilities are gone, some for the better, some for the worse. I like Frost Elemental. For some reason, people always put it in overpowered. I don't understand that. I really don't. It's a great skull. Is it overpowered? No. No. Freeze Inscription is a bit of a mixed bag. So it being the Freeze Inscription skull also makes it a bit of a mixed bag. Freeze Inscription inherently kind of has some flaws, especially without Glacier Breaker, the item. It has even more flaws. I used it in my last video and barely won. The problem with the the Freeze Inscription is it interrupts enemy movement patterns, which is normally not that big of a problem in normal rooms, but against bosses. You freeze a boss, the boss is mid-attack. You unfreeze the boss by hitting them, and then they continue their attack, and they just hit you, and you take damage. it's a big issue with the freeze inscription. So Frost has that issue inherently attached to it. But is that enough to hurt it? No. It's still a solid skull. Because like freeze is not bad. You just have to always keep that in mind whenever you're using freeze, that this can happen. So always be careful. So with that said, where do I put the skull? I would say I put it ahead of Alchemist at the very least. It's certainly better at utilizing statuses than Alchemist. Is it better than Hunter? Yoink. Is it better than Rockstar? I don't know why I put Rockstar ahead of Hunter. I think Hunter's better. God, dude, Hunter's gonna be I think Hunter's gonna be the thing that people disagree with me the most on. But I stand firm by my Hunter placement. But I don't think it's better than Rockstar. So I think it firmly belongs here. Good at using statuses, but wait, where's the swordsman? Oh, there it is. Whew. Thought maybe this list didn't have it. Yeah. It is what it is. It's a good skull. Gravedigger, Grave. Here's another hot take. Grave is yoink, very strong. Either belongs here or here. The thing about Grave that makes it so strong is its ability to attack while not even being out as your main skull. Because it's a summoner skull. Summoner skulls summon things that attack for them. So what is so strong about that? Well, you swap into Grave, you place down your fucking Macbeths, and at Legendary you place down 2 Macbeths at once. You swap out, and your Gravedigger is technically still attacking because its Macbeths are still on the screen and they're dealing a shit ton of damage, and then you swap to your partner skull, and your partner skull attacks too, so you're dealing damage with 2 skulls at once. That's just value. But Grave, even outside of that, has really good abilities. Macbeth is an ability that I absolutely stand by in saying that it deserves nerfs. It's so stupid and insane at Legendary, it's kind of ridiculous. I did say that King Lear might be one of these abilities as well. I'm actually not convinced on that anymore. I need to do more tests with it. I'm not sure that King Lear is quite there, but also I think I underestimated Othello. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I underestimated that ability and said it was like its balanced ability. Othello is pretty broken too at Legendary, and it's Gravedigger's only ranged attack. So Gravedigger has a bit of an issue dealing with enemies above it and below it, but Othello completely overcomes that. So if you have Othello, it's actually, I would say you should always have Othello and one other ability on Gravedigger. So Earl is definitely right with that. I was talking to him and I was disagreeing with him before, but Earl was right when it comes to that Othello is very good on Gravedigger. Hamlet sucks dick. Hamlet is trash. Yeah, what else can you say about Hamlet? But that's one bad ability of 3 abilities that are very good, and one ability that is fucking insane, Macbeth. So I think Gravedigger climbs the ranks of overpowered. I would say maybe here. I don't think it's better than Clown or any of these guys, but it belongs up here for sure. Actually, Mummy's probably better than Gravedigger. Gravedigger can go here. So I think we now firmly established that Mummy is in this tier, because I don't think Gravedigger belongs in easily usable. I think it belongs in overpowered, but I think Mummy is better than Gravedigger. So yeah, Mummy is now officially in overpowered. Congratulations to Mummy. That's probably a hot take as well. I'll take the hot takes though. Monkey. Here's another hot take. Monkey. A lot of people would put Monkey here. Not me. Monkey is, I'm not saying it's great. I'm not even saying it's good. I'm saying Monkey is okay. A lot of people, for some reason, are under the impression that Monkey is horrible, and I don't understand why. I think Monkey is okay. It has issues for sure. It's like, up until Legendary, a mediocre skull, but at Legendary, its swap is phenomenal. Not just in its ability to summon clones, but like it shoots out this cloud that kind of in a similar vein to Rider's swap, though Rider's swap is way better. It deals with crowds very, very well. And Monkey's just really good at dealing with rooms and crowds in general, really. When it comes to bossing, I would say Mummy falls off. But when dealing with crowds, it's super good at it. All of its abilities are very good at it. Its passive, where it summons the clones, are very good at dealing with crowds at Legendary. I think Monkey firmly belongs at the tip top of usable with some work. And I could even maybe entertain putting it here, but I think this is perfectly fine for Mummy. Easily usable, I don't think Mummy is, or Monkey is. Kind of unfortunate for it, but I just think that's true. Yeah, I think that's fair. Okay, we'll move on to Paladin now. God, where do I start with Paladin? Paladin is in an unfortunate spot right now. Not for any reason that's its fault. This is news to me, but it's true. It's a problem with 1.5. Paladin is glitched. One of the best things about Paladin is its swap. Because its swap builds towards its passive, where it summons a shield that makes its basic stronger. However, the swap no longer builds towards its shield. I think it's a glitch because they changed the way swap abilities work. They kind of made them their own thing, and some skulls kind of got fucked over. Mummy is actually one of those, though I don't think it's enough to make Mummy. Like, I don't really want to rate them too much off of glitches. I want to rate them as if they were normal, because these hopefully will be fixed as time goes on, and it's unfair to rate a skull because of a glitch. So I'm going to pretend the glitches don't exist. So with that said, Paladin very, very, very firmly belongs somewhere up here. I don't think it's quite overpowered. The thing about Paladin is a very skill-heavy skull. And by skill, I mean like player ability. Because Mummy gets most of its power through its basic attacks, at Legendary especially. Because whenever you get it to Legendary, it has these basic... like whenever you build its passive up all the way, it gets this 10 shield, like a 10 HP barrier, where like whenever it has that up, its basic attacks become these humongous slashes that deal magic damage and hit a million enemies at once. It's so good. But you need to be able to not take damage to use it. So if you're a new player, you probably don't want to use Dark Paladin that much. But if you're a very experienced player, holy shit, use this skull. It's phenomenal. And even with its glitch, it's still very usable. There's going to be a video out yesterday for you guys, but it's not even out for me yet today. But I use this skull pretty effectively, with some issues because of the swap, but you know, whatever. I actually think it belongs firmly at the top of easily usable, ahead of Samurai. I love this skull. I love it to death. It's so good. One of my favorite. It's my second favorite skull actually, but with the glitch, or no, my third favorite skull, because Mummy's my second favorite skull. But I do love Paladin. I love Paladin a lot, and I actually like its unique form. Like, it's aesthetically, I like this more than its legendary form. I love them both, but I just love the way this looks. Like how you can see the little bones face peeking out. It's just cool. Yeah, we'll move on from Paladin. No, Paladin is excellent. Enough said about that. Pike. A fan favorite, for a good reason. It got even stronger at 1.5 because the build opportunities you can do with this now. It has just a lot of things going for it. Even before 1.5, it was strong because you had like Thorny Pauldrons that made it. It was like a uniquely Pike-related item that Pike could make excellent use of. I would say Thorny Pauldrons fell off super hard in 1.4 to 1.5, but it got a lot of new tools that make up for it. Like Chase is now an inscription that's very, very strong. Sylphid Wings mixed with Chase is a build that if you're watching this and you haven't tried it, you should. Because you look at Sylphid Wings, it's like, oh my god, it deals magic attack projectiles. That's unusable because it's magic attack. But you're not reading the full thing. You're stopping at the magic attack projectiles. The real thing that makes Sylphid Wings strong is its 50% in-air dash reduction. If you combine that with Chase, I think it chases 40%, so that's 90% dash reduction in the air, which basically, if you can click fast enough, is 100% reduction. So Pike can dash invincibly in the air forever, basically, and not take any little to no damage, basically. So it's almost invincible. And you can do that on most skulls with normal dashes. So like Pike has a normal dash, ironically, even though its dash is strong. But like so like Monkey can do it, Frost Skull can probably do it, Rockstar can probably do it. But a skull that has like gravity attached to its dash can't do it. So Werewolf can't do it, Mummy can't do it, Tackle Dashers can't do it, Genie can't do it. But like so many skulls can make use of this Sylphid Wings Chase build, but Pike is the best at it because it damages with its dash more than any other skull. And dashing with this skull is the name of the game. Like I said, Thorny Paladins fell off, but there's still so much you can do, like Hunter's Boots, Masterpiece builds where like you're just kind of dashing around, killing everything on the screen. Kyrian Sword, obviously always excellent with dash. What else? I mean, my mind's kind of blinking right now, but there's just limitless possibilities with dash. Obviously, Mithril Armor. There's just so much you can do with dashing, and this skull utilizes it better than anything else. Also, I've gained a lot of respect for Cavalry Decoration. Very, very useful on Pike as well. So here's Pike. It's not here. I would actually say maybe Pike is here and overpowered right here between Rider and Beserker. Maybe you could make an argument for it being here. Actually, yeah, I think this is fair. This is more fair for Pike. Very, very powerful. But I don't think it's quite better than Beserker or Predator. I would say it's better than Clown, though. On the right build. I would say Clown is more universally useful, but I'm going to go ahead and give this to Pike over Clown. Pike is just great. Reaper, holy shit. Reaper. Everyone's new favorite stupid Unga Bunga Hulk Smash Skull. This skull can just gain damage percent unlike any other. Rivals Prisoner in terms of gaining damage percent. Really the only skull that can even come toe-to-toe with King when it comes to this. Like, these two skulls are like the kings of gaining stats. If you can get an early Reaper, it easily outpaces Prisoner for sure. But you have to get it early. So it's like a bit of a high roll, but like I've seen people do it. People have gotten ridiculous damage percentages with Reaper. I actually do think Reaper is one of the strongest skulls in the game, without a doubt. Like, pretty uncontested. Really one of the only natural legendaries that feels like it fits the bill of like what a natural legendary is. Though I don't think natural legendaries need to necessarily be like overpowered to the max where it's like kind of stupid. Like, this is a perfectly fine tier for natural legendaries. This is not. So Champion fails, but Gambler and Archlich pass, and Reaper passes with flying colors. Its abilities are strong. Its swap is defining for it. It's a very swap heavy skull, which is kind of ironic because it kind of disincentivizes swapping with its passive where it gains damage percentage. But like, you still want to swap with it because whenever you swap with it, you gain souls, and souls are how it gains its stats. So the question is it better than Prisoner? Because it's certainly at the top of overpowered, but is it better than Prisoner or King? And this might be a bit of a hot take, but I don't think so. I don't think Reaper is better than King. Even though it can gain more stats. Stats aren't the be-all, end-all. This is a speed skull, so it has that going for it. Has way more access to different tools. Reaper's has really good access to tools, but it's also, you know, the Unga Bunga kind of a one-trick pony. I don't want to call it a one-trick pony, but it's just like it's an Unga Bunga skull, whereas this can do all kinds of things. So I do think King is better, and that's just not my bias talking. I think that's a fair statement. I don't know if people agree with me, but you know, I'm sure you're going to disagree with me a lot here. But one thing that Reaper does have going over King is it looks cooler. That's for damn sure, dude. Reaper is sick. But yeah, that is what it is. Not to insult Reaper even slightly, it's an excellent skull. Like, obviously, I'm putting it at the top of overpowered. So yeah, here comes a hot take. Hot take coming. Where am I going to put it? Well, it's not going to go here. That's just a placeholder. Recruit. For some reason, one of the most maligned skulls in the game. Holy shit, why do people dislike this skull? Why? Please tell me why. If you don't like Recruit, you have to let me know why. Have you never used it? Have you never got it to Legendary? Do you not swap a lot? There has to be a reason. Because this skull is phenomenal. Phenomenal. In the same or a similar way to Grave. Recruit is excellent. Not until Legendary, though. So I have to add that caveat. Like, and that's an important caveat. But I'm not going to put it in usable with some work because Recruit pretty much plays the game for you at Legendary. Its swap is one of the most powerful swaps in the game. it summons a bunch of its minions for you at Legendary. Before that, it's a weak swap. Before Legendary Recruit kind of blows, but at Legendary Recruit absolutely pops off. So it definitely belongs somewhere here. Maybe here, maybe here. We'll see as I talk more about it. So Recruit is it's a summoner skull, just like Grave, and it has all of these different like basic enemy archetypes that you see. So like in Act 1, you see like the recruits running around, you see the bowmen running around, you see the big fat paladin guys running around, you see the thief guys with the daggers running around. For some reason, he doesn't have access to summon one of the mages. He should, that would be sick. But yeah, he just summons like basic archetypical Carleon recruits. He himself is a Carleon recruit as well. But the recruits are excellent. They deal a lot of damage, especially at Legendary. Whenever you spawn them in, they have these ults that they do. God, dude, why do people dislike Recruit? I just don't get it. It's so good. Actually, fuck it. I'm putting it above Archlich. That's the hot take, okay? But I don't think it's above Int. I think it belongs here in the tier of easily usable. Maybe easily usable is a bit of a inaccurate way to describe it, because you do have to get it to Legendary, but like that's not hard. Like, it's not hard. Play Recruit, please. You will find that it's enjoyable and fun. Just swap a lot, but also like you don't necessarily need to build towards Mutant, though you should. At least Mutant 2. I don't think Mutant 4 is necessary. Just build Mutant 2 and damage percent, and you have a fucking Recruit run. It's powerful. Yeah, Recruit very easily belongs here in this tier. Shield, whoa. Dude, my opinion has changed drastically on Shield. I used to never touch this skull, because before 1.4, it was a fucking slog to play this. It was the slowest skull in the game. God, it fucking sucked to play it. Oh my god, I hated playing Shield. But holy crap, has my opinion turned around on this skull so quickly. It took 1.5 to get me to start playing it. All the new like fortress items, all the new defensive options that are available. God, holy shit, dude! Shield is so good. I feel like I missed out since 1.4 came out, and I never touched it. It wouldn't have been as good in 1.4, but it still would have been good. This skull is crazy. Like, talk about archetypical fucking power skulls. Though this is like the defensive juggernaut in Skull the Hero Slayer. I actually do think he's better than Beserker and Predator. And in fact, I think he's better than Rider. I think Shield is like just overpowered. Better than Reaper and Prisoner, no. But holy shit, bro. The access to Shield that this thing has means that you just never die. Like, you can just never die. But like, it also has like access to concentration on a level that no other skull has access to. The speed at which this skull can concentrate and deal damage is ridiculous. All of its abilities are good. It even has a parry. Like, God, dude, Shield has everything. It has everything going for it. And you can even build damage percent and just dish out damage with it. And it works just fine. I feel like I've said it all. Also, sorry, I had to drink some water. My throat is killing me. But we're gonna plow through this. We're almost done. Yeah. Holy crap, man. Shield is excellent. If you've not played with it for a while because you feel the same way I did, throw away those fucking feelings and just play it. It's so good. And that's really all I have to say. Easily, firmly here. I feel very confident in that placement. Sword. What a skull that's gone through some fucking wild changes. Sword started out as a mixed skull. Though it leaned physical before 1.4 came out. It was like a mixed skull that leaned physical. It was more physical before 1.4, and in 1.4 they gave it some big changes that kind of made it lean more magic. And for a while, I would have put Sword up here. In 1.4, I think Sword was an overpowered skull. It was very, very strong. However, 1.5 came along, and they changed it again. So in 1.3, it got changed. In 1.4, it got changed again. Or, no, okay, that's not accurate. From full release to 1.3, it was a physical-based skull with some magic attributes. Then it got changed in 1.4 to be a magical based skull with physical attributes. And then in 1.5 they took away the magic completely from it and turned it into the there it is. They turned it into the bleed status skull. So much like Frost is one of the status representations on a skull. So this is probably a bit of a hot take then. I don't know, man. If you played with Skul before 1.5, I don't know what to tell you if you think this is a hot take, but Skul got worse in 1.5. Now, did it get worse by a lot? No. It's still excellent. It's still fantastic. It's a great skull. However, this is going to be a little hard. I think it belongs above Recruit. Is it like the powerhouse it was? I don't think so. Bleed is very, very good. It's probably one of the better, if not the best status. But is it better than just dealing flat, raw, magic damage coming out your ass like Sword did before? I don't think so. And imagine Sword now, where mixed builds are more possible than they ever have been. Like, so easy to get mixed builds going. You don't even need Fulgent Dawn or the Ring or Pot of Greed, though those items certainly help. You can just take overpowered item effects that deal both damage archetypes and build a mixed build that works just fine. So in 1.5, Sword before 1.4 Sword would slap so hard it would be ridiculous. But I'm not complaining about Sword. Sword is very good. Bleed is good. Sword utilizes it very well. It's just good. I just don't think it's as good as it was. Man, we got some strong finishes here, and some weak finishes too. But we'll get to those. But yeah, Sword belongs there. I feel very comfortable with that. Warlock. Now this is probably going to be one of the harder ones for me to place. I feel like this is a very top-heavy tier list, but we have like these two tiers up here that are jam-packed, and then these two tiers here that are kind of not as many skulls in them. But this is how I feel about the game. I think most skulls are decent in this game. Almost all of them are usable in one way or another. But Warlock here is Warlock is good, and I haven't fully explored the ways in which Warlock can be used in the new Skul the Hero Slayer. I haven't tried it with Mana Cycle yet, like full Mana Cycle, where it improves your casting speed. I feel like that would be just strong. It might be like pseudo concentration speed on Warlock. I haven't tried it yet, but Warlock has a lot of tools available to it. I've talked about the projectile build. It's a bit of a meme. I'm not saying the projectile build is like good or anything, but it's a usable thing, especially on Warlock with like Coward's Longbow. And you get like After Image and Thieves Armor and King Dwarf Contestants, and you just kind of stand behind the King Dwarf Contestants using all of your projectiles and just kind of like fire off at enemies. It's actually pretty good, and Warlock's one of the better skulls at doing it. But obviously Warlock exists for the concentration. It has the meteors, it has the big ball of energy, it has the spikes, and it's good at that too. Concentration's better than it's ever has been because they added in items that actually like help your damage while you're trying to build towards concentration. So it's better than it ever has been, and they took out the inscription for it. So thank God the devs got that under control. It's actually a usable thing now. Like I said, potentially, even though I haven't tested it, I think it would work with Mana Cycle 4. So I guess maybe that's the new concentration coin or inscription. Either way, it's more usable than it ever has been. And that include like Warlock's one of the better users of concentration because it's able to move around while it's concentrating, so it can avoid taking damage. Though it's not the best user of concentration. Actually, is it the Recruit's probably the worst user of concentration, but that's barely even like a factor in its and when you decide to use it. And how many concentration skulls are there? There's no like, so Warrior and Warlock are the only concentration focused skulls, but there are skulls that have concentration skills on them. I don't. So Warlock firmly belongs in easily usable, I think. But where in easily usable? I don't think it belongs here. I don't think it belongs here. I don't think it belongs here. Maybe here, actually? I think this is fair. Yeah. Above the status, 2 status goals, above Gambler, above Armor. But not above Rockstar, because Rockstar is a Speed Skull, which just gives it that inherent mobility that Speed Skulls have. Whereas this is a more clunky Balance Skull. That is clunky. That's certainly a thing you can say about Warlock. But it's a good skull. Easily usable. Just good. Oh, wait. Actually, this is the true Rags to Riches story. I've said this 3 times. I said it about Ghoul. I said it about Int, and then I put Int above Ghoul. Now I'm saying it about Water, and I'm putting Water above them all. Used to be down here in the muck with our trash skulls here. But good lord, did Water rise to the occasion in 1.4 when it got completely reformed. They completely fixed its passive. Its passive is so good now. Oh my god, I love Water's passive so much. It's so fun. It's just a powerhouse skull now. Maybe better than... Nah, is it better than Beserker and Predator? I don't know. I think it might be. Is this... Okay, so it's not better than Shield, but like, god, dude. Power Skull's up good. Look at all these Power Skulls up here. Man, Power Skulls are fucking way better than they ever have been. I think this is a perfectly fine place for Water, and I don't think that's even a hot take. Water is just good now. Like, its abilities are good now, even though I think they kind of maybe... Like, they don't upgrade enough. That's like the weird thing I feel about Water is, its abilities stay very similar the whole time. Like, from unique to, legendary, like their animations don't change very much, which means their powers don't change very much. But like they don't need to, because it's just strong in general. Water Skull is very good. Above Beserker, actually maybe I should put it here. Is this the gap between Predator and Beserker? I actually think that's fair. Yeah, there we go. That's a good place for Water. Between Predator and Beserker, I think Water is the bridge. Magic-based Power Skull that actually works, unlike... Well, okay, Armor works too, but not quite on the level as Water. Water is kind of like a pseudo-Speed Skull in its mechanics, where its passive works very similarly in DPS ways that Speed Skulls work. It still has a Tackle Dashing Skull, but it doesn't hold it back that much. It would be better off without it, but who cares? Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair for Water. I stand by that. Warrior. Also a Rags to Riches story. Dude, 1.4 was just the Rags to Riches story for Power Skulls. Though I guess some people disagree with me on this. Warrior's changes, in my opinion, were objectively good in 1.4, where it's a focused, concentration-focused Power Skull. It used to be very prone to taking damage, but now if you concentrate with it, whenever you release your concentration, if you're at Unique Plus, you gain invincibility, basically. You can't take damage while you're attacking with your charged concentration skill. Very good, very good for the Warrior, but they did nerf some of its attacks. Final Slash used to be like, even more than Samurai, the premier way to one-shot, or not, actually, that's not true. It was a way to one-shot bosses, but it's I guess clunky just because it was a concentration skill on a skull that was prone to taking damage. But Final Slash used to be very good at one-shotting bosses, and it's not anymore. It's just not quite the one-shotter it used to be, but it can still do it. He still has it in him, you know. He's not retired just yet. This old horse, or this old that analogy broke down really quick. What I'm trying to say is he can still jump on the horse and do some one-shots every once in a while, but he's not quite as good as he used to be. But with that said, where does he belong in this tier list? I don't think he belongs in overpowered. I think he belongs in easily usable, somewhere in here. I would say no, 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 maybe. Yeah, that seems fair. Above Balrog, maybe behind Balrog. Certainly ahead of Gargoyle. Dun dun. This is a bit of a hard one. How do I feel about So Balrog has that one ability, but the one ability is really good, and you can use it twice, sometimes 3 times per transformation. Balrog is like a very strong basic attacker. It has this jump attack that's really strong. Warrior is not a good basic attacker at all. Is a good ability user. And it it's above Balrog. I think that's my final answer. It's good, very good, not tip top, but very good. Yeah, that's fair. Oh boy, I've been waiting for this one. Werewolf, the speedrun skull. If you've never seen a Skull the Hero Slayer speedrun, this is what we use. I say we because I speedrun this game sometimes. I haven't in a while, but I kind of plan on picking it back up soon. But yeah, Werewolf here is just kind of the dude. He's the guy. He's the OP skull. Why is he OP? He's a speed skull for one, but beyond that, his skills are strong. And the thing is, this is maybe a bit of a hot take, but I don't think so. Magic Werewolf is strong too. It's not the speedrun variant that you run with. You run with physical werewolf, but Magic Werewolf is more than usable, especially at 1.5. I've seen people complain that it's still a mixed skull. That is nothing to Werewolf. Werewolf doesn't give a fuck, bro. Hunt doesn't care if you're dealing physical or magical damage. You can use Hunt on a magic run just fine. In fact, do it. It's so good. Like, Predation with Hunt deals so much damage, it's insane. So I hope the devs never change Werewolf from being mixed, because just, guys, you gotta get past your... For some reason, the community gets so hung up on basic attacks being physical on, like you know, we have, like, Brave and Petty Thief here, where it's like, but their basic attacks are physical and they're magic skulls. Guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, even slightly. You can use these skulls just fine, especially in 1.5. Things are different now. Pick up Mana Gauntlet, pick up Invisible Knife. You gotta trust me, okay? Listen to me. I have 1,000 hours in this game. You gotta trust me, okay? You just gotta trust me. Werewolf is insane, no matter how you build it. So much so that it's the strongest skull in the game. And that's just that. Better than Prisoner, better than Reaper. I stand by this. I don't think anyone's gonna argue with me. Not really. Maybe someone will, but like, Prisoner is excellent. Reaper's excellent. Werewolf is just a cut above the rest. And it always has been, and it probably always will be. Yaksha. Oh, Yaksha. My muse. Dude, I used to be the biggest Yaksha defender. When he looked like this, and he played like this, I would have put Yaksha here. Maybe here. Probably here. He wasn't great, but he had his niche and he did it well. He used to have these stomp attacks that were related to how many times he attacked. It was like his passive. People didn't know how to play with it. Yaksha used to be the king of jump attacks, so like you would attack and then he would stomp and then you would do a jump attack and he would get more stomps. You would build toward his stomp meter, then he would do the big stomp at the end. Then 1.4 rolled around and they completely changed how Yaksha works. They added like really cool visual aesthetics to Yaksha. I do kind of miss the old Yaksha design, but they gave him Rakshasa and they changed him to like he no longer stomps. He just builds towards Rakshasa and then he transforms and he's supposed to like obliterate everything when he's Rakshasa, but they made him deal no damage. They made Yaksha deal no damage. He's worse than most speed skulls in terms of the damage he dishes out. This big ass fucking behemoth monster demon that is like, you have to work towards to transform it. Actually, he's not worse than Harpy. And he deals no fucking damage. Why? Why'd they do this to my boy? Why'd they do this to fucking Yaksha? I don't get it. Do the devs just not like Yaksha? Do they have some kind of bias towards it? I don't know. I don't understand what is up with Yaksha and the devs, but like they ruined him. They ruined him in 1.4 and they tried to fix him. They like did a quick update with it and they still didn't fix it. There are ways to make this Rakshasa Yaksha work. One thing they could do is give it way more uptime on its transform, make its transform movable, make its transform stay up on swaps, make its transform provide defensive buffs to Yaksha, make its transform provide offensive buffs to Yaksha. Excuse me, my voice is absolutely almost done, but we're nearly done, so. There's just so much you could do to make this work, and they didn't do any of it. When they did the like 1.4.2 or whatever, I don't know what it is, but they ruined Yaksha. Even more, like he was never good, but now he's awful. Harpy is a meme. Like, if Harpy wasn't here, this would be at the bottom. But Harpy is worse than Yaksha. But like, in terms of real, like non-quint transformation skulls, Yaksha is easily the worst. Look at this, two legendaries and unusable. Obviously, this one's going to be more contested than this one, but I feel firm about both of these. Get over there, please. Okay. What a shame. Our Nat legendaries. I miss Yaksha, man. I miss this Yaksha. He was so fucking cool. Moving on to Minotaurus, who was kind of like old Yaksha in a lot of ways. They were two very comparable skulls. He's not going to stay on here, by the way. Minotaurus and Yaksha were both tackle dashing unga bunga power skulls. Minotaurus was much worse than Yaksha, though. Minotaurus didn't have an identity. It didn't have the power to back up its power skull status. Then 1.4 came around and they gave it more of a stomping identity. They gave it like an earthquake big boy identity where like he just whenever he moves he causes the ground to shake beneath him. And they turned Minotaurus from a horrible power skull into a very good power skull. Very good power skull. Pretty much the archetypical power skull at this point. Yaksha no longer has the like him and Beserker are kind of holding it down for like tackle dasher power skulls. Like Int has the grass mechanic kind of powering it up. Minotaurus and Beserker just kind of unga bunga punch as hard as they can, Hulk smash, you know. That's what they do. Berserker's better at it, but Minotaurus is not bad at it at all. Minotaurus is very good, very usable. And yeah, I think Minotaurus firmly belongs probably about right here, maybe here, maybe here. Let me think about this a little bit. This is the final placement, and then I'll go over maybe some changes that I'll do. We'll see. Minotaurus is more universally useful than Recruit. I think this is probably better. I think Sword's probably better than Minotaurus. But I would say Minotaurus is better than Recruit because it's just more universally useful. I think I'll fix this real quick. I think this is more fair. I don't want to be unfair to Archlich. Archlich is good. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a look at our tier list here. I agree with this, I agree with this, I agree with this, I agree with this. I'll probably agree with all of this. I think this is all fair for the final overpowered tier of skulls. There's just so much you can do with these skulls. And I think the order is perfectly fine. Yeah, I stand by all of this. Moving on to easily usable. Paladin at the start. Even though he's glitch, I'm going to leave him here because I'm not basing him off of his glitch. I'm basing him off of how he's supposed to be. Samurai here is fine. All this is fine so far. Gambler is a bit of an oddball here. Nah, he doesn't belong there. I'll put him above these two. Is he better than Warlock? Yes. Is he better than Rockstar? No. Okay, I think Gambler belongs more here than there. Bomber's odd one here. I kind of put him here just as a placeholder. Let's see. Do I think he belongs here? No. No. No, Bomber belongs in this tier, but does he belong at the bottom? Yes. Just because of his very narrow range of usability, though I haven't tried the Arson build just yet. That could make him better than Living Armor, but I think Living Armor is better. Actually, you know what? Living Armor is probably better than Alchemist too. Don't want to be too unfair to Living Armor. There we go. That's probably more fair. Yeah, I agree with this. And that's going to be the hardest one to sort through, so let's look at these. This will be easy. And I agree with this already, I don't have to look at that. Monkey at the top, Slime in the middle, Gene... is Gene worse than Slime? Yeah. And Ninja behind Genie, which I think is fair. I could easily put Ninja down here, but I don't think I will, because it has the ability spam. Well, let's get it. Fucking goddamn laptop screen resolution is so bad. But yeah, here it is in full view. This is the tier list. This is my final opinions on Skul the Hero Slayer Skul tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe a little bit of hot takes in here, get some conversations going. I feel very confident about all of these placements though, even going over them in further review. I think this one will be controversial. This could be controversial. I think people don't quite respect Grave because they don't know how to play it. You gotta swap a lot with Grave to really get the most use out of it. Mummy will probably be a little controversial. Bomber might... I think Bomber would probably... People would probably put Bomber somewhere in the middle here, but you have to take into account just how narrow the range of playability is on this Skul. And... yeah, I think most of Genie, I think people might think Genie belongs down here, but he doesn't. People would think Monkey belongs down here, but none of that should be too controversial. Champion might be controversial. I think most people would put Champion in usable with some work, but personally I think it's just, there's not a lot of reason to take it after 1.4, especially in 1.5 where all of these tools were given for ability spam and now Champion can't use any of them because they ruined him. I stand by all of this. Yep, that's the tier list. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for 100 subs. Holy crap, that was very quick, though I think things are going to slow down from here. But I do appreciate all of the growth and support I've gotten so far, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Eventually, when I feel comfortable doing it and when I have an easier way to do it, I'll get around to tiering items. I might even make my own item tier list. It should be a lot easier with the people working so hard on the wiki, which shout out to those people. You guys are doing great work. You're pillars of the community. Like, the wiki has been neglected, though, you know, I'm not putting anyone on blast. I'm sure the person who was maintaining the wiki before just got busy with their life, and that just happens. But it has been mismanaged and neglected for too long. I'm very happy to see it being updated. If you haven't been to the Skul wiki for a while because you just saw it as this abandoned place, go look at it now. They're doing great work on it, and it's going to be updated fully pretty soon. So look forward to that. Aside from that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and you watched all the way to the end, well, I mean, even if you forwarded it to the end and just wanted to see my final opinions, though I do go very in-depth on all of my opinions. I explain it very thoroughly. So every Skul I talk about why they're there and why I think what I think. So it is worth watching it just to hear all of that nuance. But if you just forwarded it here just to see what, you know, how I ended things, thank you as well, though you should watch it. But if you didn't, that's fine too. It's a very long video, so it's understandable. And yeah, that's really all I have to say. I will see you again in another gameplay video coming up soon. Probably tomorrow. Actually, definitely tomorrow. Every day but Friday. That's the schedule right now. So yeah, thank you, and I will see you then.